Hey guys, it's Richard from diabolotutorials.com. This is the first of a 4-part tutorial series and is aimed at teaching you how to start the two-diabolo shuffle using an assistant. It will begin at the start and assume you don't have any knowledge of how to begin the shuffle. The two-low shuffle will probably be one of the hardest tricks you will have ever attempted, and it requires a lot of technical knowledge as well as dedicated practice. Simply putting in a lot of time won't necessarily mean fast results. This series of videos will take you through what I think is the natural progression of how to learn two-low. The order in which the skills are shown may seem a little confusing, however there is a definite logic to it. I suggest watching the series of videos from start to finish so that you're fully aware of all the skills required, as well as the problems associated with doing two-low and what to do about them. A large part of learning two-low is watching and understanding the timing of the Diabolo's shuffle. Therefore, we'll spend a good amount of time focusing on this timing. If you want to learn about how to start the shuffle on your own, perfect your existing shuffle skills, or do correction, click on the appropriate link. However, I highly recommend watching each tutorial in order so that you fully understand and can master all the very important basic techniques. For two-low, you need to be able to do a basic orbit really well, with a lot of control. If you haven't mastered this skill yet, I recommend clicking on the link and coming back here later. Okay, let's have a look at what's happening in the two-diabolo shuffle. As the Diabolo lands on the string, you need to drop your right hand. When the Diabolo moves close to your left hand, you should lift it gently to guide the Diabolo through the air. These movements are similar, but not exactly the same as doing one Diabolo orbits. However, the timing of your hands with two-low is completely different. In fact, the closest movement you can do with one Diabolo is an under-the-leg orbit. I recommend that you practice this skill to visualize what it's like to do two Diabolos. Again, remember that the timing of your hands will be very different. You don't need to lift your left hand very much, because the force of the incoming Diabolo will bounce the other Diabolo off the string. You really just need to guide it through the air. Even when you don't move your hands, the Diabolos will bounce around each other. When a Diabolo lands on the string, the force of it will bounce the other one off into the air. This is a really important thing to keep in mind, because it means that you don't need to use much force with your hands when doing the shuffle. In this example, we can see how the downward force of anything on the string will make a Diabolo lift off into the air. Watch this shuffle and see how small the movements are. You don't need to move your hands that much. It's more important to have good timing with the Diabolos. Timing is everything. If you've never been able to start two Diabolos successfully, I recommend getting an assistant to throw the second Diabolo to you. They just need to be able to spin one Diabolo up and throw it fairly accurately. It's a lot easier to start your shuffle with an assistant throwing the second Diabolo in. This is because both Diabolos can be stable and sped up to a similar speed. I recommend trying to get as much practice as you can starting this way. The first step is to speed both Diabolos up. You and your assistant should then correct the angle of both Diabolos so that they're in a straight line with each other. Don't stand too far away. The further away you are, the harder it will be to catch the Diabolo and control the shuffle. Leave enough room for the assistant to comfortably throw the Diabolo and be accurate. Once you're in position, open your hands so that they're shoulder width apart. Then stop moving them. If they're still, your focus will be much better and it will be easier for you to catch the second Diabolo. The assistant should aim for the top of your right string. Accurate throws are very important. If your assistant's throw is off, you may need to move your hands too much to catch the Diabolo, and this will make it harder for you to start the shuffle. Catching the Diabolo may seem like a simple step, but you should try to remember a few key things. Before catching, try to remain as still as possible. The less movement in your body, the easier it will be to focus on the timing of the shuffle after you catch. To catch the second Diabolo, simply move your right hand to the correct position to meet it. Don't lift or lower your hand. Don't try to anticipate the timing of the shuffle by lifting or moving your hands. Simply catch the second Diabolo. If it lands on the right location of the string, it will automatically make the other Diabolo bounce and begin the shuffle. If one or both Diabolos constantly fall off the string, make sure your assistant throws the second Diabolo in a straight line with the first. Also, you shouldn't have to move your right hand too much to catch it. Timing is one of the most important skills when learning two-low. You need to be able to feel the rhythm of the Diabolos in order to continue the shuffle yourself. After you catch the second Diabolo, keep your hands still and let both Diabolos bounce around each other. This step is really important so that you can first feel the rhythm of the shuffle before you start moving your hands. While the Diabolos have enough spin, they will continue bouncing over each other in a shuffle, even if you don't move your hands at all. Let the first two Diabolos bounce over each other, then, when you can feel the rhythm of the shuffle, start lifting your left hand. Then lift your left hand as each Diabolo moves up the left string. If you keep practicing like this, over time you will start to get a natural feel for the timing of the shuffle. Remember, once you catch the second Diabolo, let both of them bounce over each other. This helps you feel the rhythm of the shuffle before you start lifting your left hand. Otherwise, you'll just be lifting randomly, which makes it much harder to get the shuffle going. Almost all diaboloists that learn the two-low shuffle make this mistake. If you can be disciplined enough to feel the timing of the Diabolos before moving your hand, you will make much better progress. To keep the shuffle going, keep doing small lifts with your left hand. It's a common mistake for beginners to keep lifting their left hands higher and higher. This makes it much harder to control the shuffle because it doesn't allow enough room on the string for both Diabolos. It doesn't let the Diabolos keep speed while rolling down the string, and if the shuffle is very small, it's harder to control with your lifts. Try to keep your left hand at about the same height. Each time you lift the Diabolo, bring it back to the original position. Later in this tutorial series, we focus on how to maintain the perfect two-low shuffle by using your right hand to drive both Diabolos. But for now, let's continue with the basic shuffle only using your left hand. If your assistant isn't comfortable speeding up and correcting a Diabolo from the string, get them to throw it in using their hands. This is where it's great to call on favours from friends and relatives. The disadvantage of the hand throw over throwing from the string is that the second Diabolo won't be spinning as fast as the first on your string. This makes it much harder to get the shuffle started because there's a different spinning force from both Diabolos on the string. Therefore, your timing will need to be quite good to be able to keep the shuffle going for any length of time. So, I recommend using this starting method when you don't have any other options available. This is how the assistant should hold and throw the Diabolo. Using both hands will help stabilise it while throwing. It is possible to use one hand to throw the Diabolo in, however it's much harder to maintain stability and accuracy. Get the first Diabolo sped up, but not too fast. The timing of the shuffle will be much easier if both Diabolos will be spinning at the same speed, so don't get too enthusiastic when you're speeding up the first Diabolo. Stand about 1 to 2 meters apart, not too far, or it'll be harder for the assistant to throw the second Diabolo accurately, and it'll also be harder to catch it and keep the shuffle going. Keep the stick ends at the same height, about 30 to 50 centimeters apart, and hold your hands relatively still. You want to focus on catching the second Diabolo, so any extra movement should be avoided. Once you've sped up the first Diabolo, the assistant should line up their second Diabolo with the one on the string. A good throw needs to be accurate and land near the top of the string, without you having to move your right hand too far to catch it. The throw should make a nice arc through the air and not be too flat. It's more important for the Diabolo to be accurate and have stability than it is to be spinning fast. The throw needs to be very accurate, landing about 10 to 20 centimeters below the end of the right stick. It must be in line with the first Diabolo's plane. A bad throw on the wrong angle will make it really hard to get the shuffle going. The assistant shouldn't worry too much about generating a lot of spin. Remember that it's more important that the Diabolo is accurate and has stability than spinning fast. Because the second Diabolo won't have much spin, you need to find the timing and start the shuffle really fast. Therefore, you can't let the Diabolos bounce around each other before you begin lifting your left hand. This is one of the main disadvantages of starting with this method, and it's a very hard way to begin two Diabolos. So if you haven't practiced too low that much, either try to get an assistant that can throw the Diabolo from the string, or just keep persisting. Good luck! Keep practicing, and as always, send me a message in the comments field if you have any questions or comments.
Ha ha ha!